What's up, world? Let me tell you about this beard growth oil I got from 12 tribes on Earth. 8 ounces of oily goodness with a nozzle that prevents sprays and spills, and soft ingredients that make it perfect addition to anyone's morning routine. From coconut to castor, all these oils are hand chosen. After using this herbal blend, the biggest thing I noticed is how soft and how strong my hair was, and how good I feel. Pick up your bottle today and make your beard the star of the show.
Y'all brace yourself. The tariffs will be expiring on July 9th, which means we could be looking at another market crash along with inflation. That's what happened the last time. The market crashed and the prices shot up. So we could be looking at the same thing again. And Donald Trump, we know, is very inconsistent when it comes down to tariffs. So we could get to July 9th and he could play around for a few days and then put another pause on it. That's why they call him Donnie Taco. So, y'all, let me get into this story and I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary. Why markets are going to have to worry about tariffs again soon. The market has looked past tariff concerns since the April 9th pause and cooler China tensions. But as the end of the 90-day negotiation window approaches, the trade war is about to come back into focus. Inflation has been tame, but that might not last, and the Fed will be confronted with more tough decisions. The market is breathing a sigh of relief over the ceasefire between Israel and Iran on Tuesday, but investors are barreling toward another issue that sent volatility soaring earlier this year. In it, a note on Monday, Morgan Stanley highlighted that uncertainty related to tariffs remains high across the globe, and investors are nearing a key deadline that could bring the trade war back to the forefront. On April 9th, President Donald Trump announced a 90-day pause on all reciprocal tariffs imposed by the U.S., excepting those on China. As Morgan Stanley notes, July 9th is the next deadline for tariff negotiations. Markets are waiting to learn how Trump will approach this next phase. There are 3 chief reasons tariffs could come roaring back into view for investors. Geopolitics has overshadowed the trade war recently. The Israel-Iran conflict in recent weeks has taken up a lot of investors' focus, but the risks from that event appear to be dwindling. The next shoe to drop with regard to volatility is likely to be the next chapter of the trade war. Tariffs' effect on inflation may be lagged. Economists caution that the data in recent months showing inflation cooling might not last. That's because the impact of tariffs on prices could be slow to show up, Morgan Stanley said, adding that they see inflation potentially picking up later this summer. Fed policy could be complicated by the lagged impact of tariffs. Markets and Trump have been clamoring for lower interest rates. But if inflation rears its head, that'll be another reason for the Fed and Chairman Jerome Powell to keep rates steady. Recently, much of the focus on tariffs has centered around the Fed's decision to hold interest rates steady, a decision that President Trump has been highly critical of. Powell has predicted that tariffs could ultimately lead to higher inflation, stating that the burden will fall on the end consumer, though several Fed officials have sounded more dovish lately. But as Morgan Stanley notes, factors related to the trade war are likely to make the Fed's next decision extremely complicated. Some have argued after a soft May CPI print that the economic impact of tariffs could be benign because of all the negotiation. We disagree, states chief global economist Seth B. Carpenter. As the analysts note, tariffs often lead to higher inflation after 2 to 3 month period. Therefore, they are not surprised by the cooler data and predict that even if the U.S. sees the effects this summer, it will be difficult to predict the magnitude and length of the trade war's impact. For the Fed, it is precisely this uncertainty that will make understanding the risk of inflation and thus deciding to cut a challenge, the analysts wrote. With pressure rising from both the Federal Reserve and Capitol Hill, Powell and the Fed are facing a complicated landscape. And with no Fed meetings scheduled for August 2025, observers say that officials could be more inclined to act in July to deliver a rate cut.
Well, y'all, get ready for higher prices because that's all Donald Trump's tariffs do. It shakes the entire world market upside down and causes inflation, and people are already paying too much money now, you know, and his inconsistencies make it even worse. And that's what they said the last, what, 2, 3 times these tariffs come up, and then he backs off, and then he puts a 30-day pause, and then another pause. And I mean, this whole thing is ridiculous. What's the purpose in doing these tariffs other than we're just sitting around watching rich people get richer? Because y'all got the market all rigged to make money, and you're making the rest of the population suffer with more inflation. That's all I see out of these tariffs. It's really not benefiting nobody but wealthy people up in here. And, if he paused it again, this was his intention the entire time, helping the rich get richer, and the rest of us got to shell more money out into this economy just to get by, because that's the way it's starting to look. So I would not be surprised when the ninth come, he'll yet again throw another pause on. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. And, he got accused of insider trading the last time. And I'm sure he'll be doing it this time. The problem is they know what Donald Trump is doing, y'all, but nobody got the balls to stop him. And when July 9th come and he started playing around with the market again, there is nobody sitting in Washington, D.C. that will stop him. That's what I do know. So, y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.